Best chicken wing recipe. Once you try this best chicken wings recipe, you'll never order wings when you're out again. These baked wings come out with a crispy exterior and juicy interior, plus tons of flavor that you'll love licking off your fingers. These dry rub wings kick it up a notch. Baked chicken wing ingredients. 1/chicken wings. Well, that's obvious. What's less obvious is you may not find them as drumettes and may have to use a butcher knife to cut them into the pieces you're used to seeing. 2/butter, use unsalted, which will go on the baking sheet. 3/flour. This is what makes your baked wings crispy. 4/chicken wing seasoning. You'll need smoked paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. This seasoning combination with flour makes for the perfect dry rub chicken wings. Easy chicken wing recipe. Guests coming in an hour and need an easy chicken wings recipe? That's plenty of time to whip up a baked hot wings recipe. You only need 10 minutes to prep these party wings. Then you bake your homemade chicken wings for 50 minutes, flipping in the middle, and you'll have crispy baked chicken wings that taste like you ordered them from your favorite sports bar. How do you make chicken wings from scratch? You'll set the oven to 400 F and line a baking sheet with foil topped with the butter. Whisk the flour and seasonings together in a large mixing bowl. Then add the chicken wings in the bowl and make sure every part of them is coated. Put the wings on the baking sheet in an even layer, baking for 30 minutes before flipping. Continue baking for 10 to 15 minutes more until the exterior is nice and crispy and the wings are cooked through. Expert tips and tricks for crispy baked chicken wings every time. The flour helps make it crispy. You can use gluten-free flour if you wish to keep this recipe gluten-free. Out of flour? You can use cornstarch. Don't forget to flip. When cooking chicken wings in the oven, flipping them is important to get both sides crispy. If you skip the flip, you'll have one crispy side and one soggy side. Like spicy wings? Simply add more chili powder for spicier wings. What makes a good chicken wing? Good oven-baked wings should be crispy on the outside with skin that crunches while the inside should be tender and juicy. The crispy outside and tender inside combination makes for the best chicken wings. How should I season my wings? Along with the flour, add in smoked paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt and pepper. What is the best flavor for chicken wings? The best flavor of chicken wings is the one you love most. If you like hot and spicy, then go for it. This tasty wings recipe gives you a spicy and smoky flavor that you're sure to love, though you can serve it with a side of wing sauce and blue cheese dressing too. How do I make my wings crispy? To make wings crispy, you can fry them or bake them. I recommend baking for a healthier option and less mess. Using flour to coat them and turning them midway through baking will make them crispy. Is it better to bake wings covered or uncovered? Bake your wings uncovered. They won't brown up if they are covered and you'll be left with soggy skin. Do you need to flip chicken wings when baking? Yes. If you don't flip them, they will not get crispy on one side. Do yourself a favor and set a timer so you won't forget. How do you make wings tender? The dry rub helps coat the wings and seal in the moisture. Also, the butter cubes on the baking sheet helps retain moisture as well. How do you keep chicken wings from drying out in the oven? That's where all that butter comes in. The butter prevents the wings from going too dry. Does baking powder make chicken crispy? It may, but flour tends to work better. If you are out of flour, cornstarch is the best alternative to flour when coating wings for crispiness. How do you keep chicken wings crispy? This is why you use flour as part of the coating. The flour helps make the wings nice and crispy. If you don't have flour, cornstarch is a good substitute when making crispy baked wings. How do you get crispy skin on fried chicken wings? Frying naturally makes skin crispy. But if you don't want to fry your wings or have no way to fry them, baking them gives you the same great texture with easy cleanup. Also, crispy oven chicken wings will not come out as greasy as fried wings. Can you freeze chicken wings? Cooked chicken wings are a blessing in your freezer. They are great when you find out friends are popping by. Stored properly, you can keep them for up to 6 months, though I advise using them up by 3 months for the best flavor and texture. How to reheat chicken wings. If your wings are frozen, be sure to put them in the fridge overnight to let them properly thaw. To reheat, Turn the oven to 350 and put the wings on a baking sheet for 10 to 20 minutes. The internal temperature should read 165 F. How to cooking chef's salad. What is a chef salad? Chef salad, sometimes called chef salad, is an American salad made with deli meat, cheese, tomatoes, cucumbers, hard-boiled eggs, and greens. Its origin is debated, but some say that Louis Diet, chef at the Ritz-Carlton in New York City, came up with it in the 1940s. Some classic chef salad recipes include croutons and are topped with a chef salad dressing that is made with sugar, but this is a healthier version without the sugar or bread. Chef salad ingredients and substitutions. This section explains what's in a chef salad, what each ingredient does in the recipe, and substitution options. For measurements, see the recipe card below. 1 lettuce. I prefer to use romaine lettuce, but iceberg lettuce or any other greens will work. Chop right before serving. 2 deli ham. You can buy ham or use leftover ham, even ham steaks. Chop the ham into bite-sized pieces. Chopped cooked bacon would also be delicious. If you don't eat pork, you can substitute turkey instead. 3 tomatoes. Any small tomatoes, such as cherry or grape tomatoes, work well. Slice these in half. If you only have large ones on hand, you can just chop those up instead. 4 cucumbers. Slice them into quarter moons. 5 cheese. I used a combination of cheddar and Swiss, but feel free to use any cheeses you like. Provolone is another common one to use. Authentic chef salad typically has cheese cut into cubes, but if you don't have block cheese on hand, you can use shredded as well. 6 hard-boiled eggs. I recommend this method for perfect boiled eggs, but you could also air fry hard-boiled eggs or bake them. Once cooled, slice them using an egg slicer. 7 Thousand Island dressing. I make mine with homemade sugar-free Thousand Island dressing, but any kind you like will work. If you're not a fan of Thousand Island, ranch dressing, green goddess, honey mustard, or blue cheese dressing are great options. This salad works best with creamy dressings, but a vinaigrette is also fine if that's your preference. If your dressing is a little bland, you can add salt and pepper to taste. Abe, how to make a chef salad. 1 chop. Get all your ingredients sliced and diced, as described above. 2 plate. You can put everything into 1 large salad bowl, or individual serving bowls. 3. Add dressing. Top salad with dressing and toss to coat, or serve the dressing on the side. B. Recipe variations. Want to change it up? Try these different ways to make this salad. 1 chicken. Omit the deli ham, and add 8 ounces of cooked chicken such as shredded chicken, perfectly charred grilled chicken, or juicy baked chicken breast to the salad ingredients for a chicken chef salad. 2 veggies. Try adding sliced or diced avocado, grated carrots, thinly sliced radishes, or chopped celery. You can use up almost any vegetables you have on hand. 3 Italian. Make an Italian chef salad by adding a 1/4 cup sliced black olives, a 1/4 cup diced red onion, a 1/4 cup diced pepperoncini peppers, and topping with shaved Parmesan cheese and Italian dressing. Storage instructions. Keep the chef salad ingredients separate from the dressing in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 days. Dressed salad might last up to a day. Today I will be showing you another new cooking video. Air fryer salmon. Air fryer salmon is the best way to cook salmon that turns out tender and flaky every single time. I love how this cooks in just 6 minutes. It's no secret that I use my air fryer almost every day, but my favorite use for it is cooking proteins, and salmon is no exception. I like things delicious and fast, and cooking salmon this way ticks both those boxes. Why I love this recipe. Ready in 6 minutes. Fish is already one of the fastest cooking proteins, and the air fryer makes it even faster. Best way to cook salmon. In my household, I used to strictly bake salmon, sauté salmon, or pan-sear salmon, but once my air fryer arrived, it became my favorite way to cook this fish, along with air fryer salmon bites. It's a healthy meal option. Salmon is a nutritious and healthy source of protein and omega-3 fatty acids, and cooking it in the air fryer allows you to enjoy all of its health benefits without added oil or fat. Perfect texture and flavor. Nothing is worse than overcooked rubbery salmon, and the air fryer guarantees the fish turns out crispy on the outside and perfectly flaky in the middle. Easy to customize. To the above point, I kept this recipe simple with a few seasonings, but you can douse it in a sauce or marinade or use your favorite spice mix. Ingredients needed. 1. Salmon fillets. I prefer skin-on salmon fillets as it helps to cook the fish more completely and evenly. Even if you don't like the skin, you can easily discard it before serving. 2. Olive oil. Although salmon is naturally oily, adding a touch of oil will help the seasoning stick to the fish and also prevent it from sticking to the basket. 3. Salt and pepper. To taste. 4. Brown sugar. The secret ingredient. Adding a touch of sugar helps caramelize the fish and gives it a crispy exterior and a very subtle sweetness. 5. Spices. Smoked paprika, garlic, and onion powder enhance the flavor of the fish and gives it a lovely, smoky flavor. Sauce. Optional, but I like to glaze the freshly cooked salmon with some sweet chili sauce or a honey soy sauce. How to cook salmon in the air fryer. Step 1. Season the salmon. Add the salmon and olive oil into a small bowl and mix. Add the salt, pepper, and spices, and rub them onto the fish. Ensure all sides of the fish are seasoned. Step 2. Air fry the salmon. Put the seasoned salmon in the air fryer basket and air fry for 6 minutes. Remove the salmon and serve immediately. Recipe tips and variations. Choose even-sized salmon fillets. Opt for fillets that are similar in size and weight. This will ensure the fish cooks evenly and completely at the same time. Use a meat thermometer. To ensure your salmon cooks perfectly, you can check the internal temperature. The FDA recommends cooking salmon to an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Source. Adjust the cooking time. 4 6-ounce salmon fillets. The cooking time in my air fryer was 6 minutes. Depending on the make and model, you may need to cook it a little longer. Don't overcrowd the basket. If needed, I cook the fish in batches, as adding too many to the air fryer basket will affect the overall texture. Add parchment paper or air fryer liners to the base of the air fryer. This makes cleanup an absolute breeze. Storage instructions. To store, leftover salmon can be stored in an airtight container in the fridge for up to 3 days. To freeze, place the cooked and cooled salmon in a Ziploc bag and store it in the freezer for up to 2 months. Steak Diane. I usually cook steak simply seasoned with salt and pepper, because quality meat doesn't need much to shine. But last year I tried Steak Diane at a restaurant, and immediately knew I had to recreate it at home. The rich, creamy mushroom and cognac sauce is an incredible upgrade when you're bored with plain beef, and it feels more special. It's also very easy, but your guests or date will never guess. Next time you really want to wow someone, make this Steak Diane recipe with me. 1. What is Steak Diane? Steak Diane is a classic pan-seared steak dish smothered in a cognac cream sauce. Its exact origins are up for debate, but all I know it's absolutely delicious. Restaurants serve it to impress, and now you can too. 2 ingredients and substitutions. 1 steaks. You can make Steak Diane using any quality cut, such as sliced beef tenderloin, New York strip, or ribeye steak, but I prefer mine with filet mignon. Not just because it's my favorite cut, but also because this sauce is so rich that you really want smaller steaks. Make sure they are at least 1 inch thick though. 2 beef broth. This is the base of the sauce. I prefer this low sodium kind, as the sauce is too salty with regular. Bone broth also works. 3 cognac. In our Slavic household, we often have this around. Cognac is the most authentic for Steak Diane, but you can use any type of brandy. Don't worry, the alcohol cooks away. If you still want to avoid it, you can sub extra broth, but the flavor will be quite different. For unsalted butter, I use this to sear the steaks and sauté the aromatics, and it adds wonderful richness. Feel free to use olive oil or avocado oil. 5. Aromatics. Shallots and garlic. You can use red or white onions in place of the shallots if you like. 6. Mushrooms. I used white button mushrooms, but cremini or even shiitake mushrooms would also taste great. 7. Worcestershire sauce. For subtle sweetness and umami flavor. I like this gluten-free brand. If you need an alternative, soy sauce or coconut aminos would be the closest, though not quite the same. 8. Dijon mustard. Use a smooth one like this, not whole grain. If all you've got is yellow mustard, I recommend using half the amount, as it's more acidic. 9. Fresh parsley, sea salt, and black pepper. You can also add a sprinkle of crushed red pepper flakes or cayenne for a kick. 10. Heavy cream. Makes the sauce creamy. Full-fat coconut milk will work for a dairy-free option, but I don't recommend any other type of milk because it won't thicken. 3. How to make it. 1. Season and sear the steaks. Pat them dry, then sprinkle both sides with salt and pepper. Heat butter in a large skillet over medium-high heat and sear to your preferred doneness. See my tips below. Remove, cover, and set aside. 2. Sauté the aromatics. Reduce the heat to medium and melt more butter in the pan. Add the shallots and garlic, stirring often, until softened and fragrant. Filet mignon seared in a cast iron skillet. Garlic and shallots sautéed in butter. 3. Cook the mushrooms. Add them to the skillet and cook until soft. 4. Deglaze the pan with cognac. Pour it in and stir, scraping up any brown bits from the bottom of the pan. Let it simmer. 5. Whisk in the beef broth, Worcestershire sauce, and Dijon mustard. Simmer until slightly reduced, then stir in the heavy cream and parsley. Simmer the steak Diane sauce for a bit longer. Season to your taste. Mushrooms and cognac simmering in the skillet. Broth, Worcestershire sauce, Dijon mustard, cream, and parsley added to the skillet. 6. Bring it all together. Add the steaks back to the skillet and spoon the sauce over them. I like to garnish my steak Diane with extra parsley, but it's up to you. My recipe tips. If you have time, let the steaks sit at room temperature for 30 minutes before cooking. This isn't required, but they do cook more evenly if you do this. I recommend a cast iron skillet like this. It gets super hot, getting you that golden crust on your steak. Non-stick pans just don't give the same results. For smaller steaks, a 10-inch skillet works, but use a 12-inch one if yours are larger to avoid crowding. The time it takes to reduce the sauce can also depend on the size and material of your pan. Flip the steaks often, rather than just once. I always use this method for my pan-seared steak, more details in my pan-seared filet mignon post, and highly recommend it for faster, more even cooking. Don't squeeze the steaks when flipping. You'll push all the juices out. Use tongs or a turner to flip gently. Use a meat thermometer. You'll often see me suggest a probe in many recipes, but this doesn't work well for stovetop-only recipes that require flipping often. Instead, I use this instant read thermometer. Remove the steaks when they hit an internal temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit for rare, 130 degrees Fahrenheit for medium rare, 140 degrees Fahrenheit for medium, 150 degrees Fahrenheit for medium well, or 160 degrees for well done. Can you flambe it? Yes, you can. After deglazing the pan, light the cognac on fire with a long stick lighter, then stand back and wait for the flames to die down before adding the broth. I don't usually do this, because like I said, too much fire for me. Winking face. Remove the steak Diane from the pan promptly. It sure looks pretty in the skillet, but will continue to cook from the residual heat. Transfer it to a platter quickly, along with the sauce, to prevent overcooking. Hello, I will share a wonderful chicken stew recipe. Air fryer chicken tenders. My juicy air fryer chicken tenders have a fast, sweet and savory honey herb marinade, with no breading. Cook these tenderloins in minutes. These air fryer chicken tenders have been my family's favorite air fryer recipe lately because we've really gone overboard on the air fryer chicken leg quarters and air fryer whole chickens one too many times. While I love me some crispy skin, this recipe has this irresistible savory sweet flavor that hits different in the best possible way. And what I love even more is that I can throw these chicken tenderloins in the air fryer and have a meal ready in minutes. Make them with me when you want a fast dinner and a way to change up your chicken at the same time. How to cooking. 1. Ingredients and substitutions. Abe chicken tenderloins. I like using tenderloins because they're well tender, lol, and also conveniently pre-cut from the store. You can totally use boneless skinless chicken breasts or chicken thighs, and cut them into strips. Beef olive oil. Keeps the chicken juicy. Avocado oil works too. Sieve honey. Although you can skip it if you don't like a sweet flavor, I highly recommend it. Not only does it add flavor, it makes for nicer browning. I use my natural wholesome yum zero sugar honey, but regular honey works fine. Lemon juice. Helps tenderize the chicken and balances the sweetness from the honey. Lime juice is fine to substitute, or you can try apple cider vinegar for a similar effect. Spices, garlic powder, paprika, or use smoked paprika for a smoky flavor, sea salt, and black pepper. Feel free to switch it up with other spices you like on chicken, such as Italian seasonings, onion powder, chili powder, or even a pinch of cayenne pepper for some heat. 2. How to cook chicken tenderloins in the air fryer. A. Mix up the marinade. In a small bowl, whisk together the olive oil, honey, lemon juice, garlic powder, paprika, salt, and pepper. B. Marinate briefly. Pour the mixture over the chicken strips in a large bowl and toss until they're evenly coated. Let them soak up the flavors for at least 15 minutes. C. Air fry until golden. Place the chicken tenders in the air fryer basket in a single layer. You can discard any extra marinade. Air fry chicken tenderloins, flipping once until they're cooked through, juicy and golden brown. I like to garnish with parsley for a pop of color. 3. My recipe tips. Can you skip the marinating time? Yep, you can. And I totally have when I'm in a rush. Can you marinate for longer? Also yes. I've been making these air fryer chicken tenders as a last-minute dinner and usually just do 15 minutes, but they taste even better when I let them sit in the marinade in the fridge overnight. Just don't go over 24 hours, or your chicken will be mushy. Can you use frozen chicken tenders? Yes, and I have a trick to thaw them in the air fryer. Just air fry without any seasonings for about 5 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit to thaw, then marinate and proceed with the recipe as written. I don't recommend air frying from frozen, as the seasoning flavors won't penetrate the chicken well. Don't crowd the basket. I can usually fit a pound of chicken tenderloins in my air fryer. I love the roomy basket, but if it doesn't fit in yours, cook in batches. You want a little space between the pieces for them to cook evenly. Do you have to flip? No, but I recommend it for more even browning. Cooking time can vary a bit. It depends on the size of your chicken tenderloins. I usually check on them after 7 minutes and add another minute only if needed. If you've got a few very small pieces, you may want to pull them out a couple minutes earlier than the rest. I love using my probe thermometer because it beeps when it hits the right temp. I set it to 163 degrees Fahrenheit and the chicken reaches 165 from the residual heat after cooking, but a regular instant read 1 works just as well. Variation: wrap them in bacon before air frying. The slightly sweet honey marinade in this air fryer chicken tenders recipe goes perfectly with bacon. It's like a faster upgrade to my bacon-wrapped chicken tenders. 4. Serving ideas. These air fryer chicken tenderloins make an easy, no-fuss meal, so I like to serve them with sides that are just as simple. Don't forget your favorite dipping sauces. Dipping sauce, sugar-free honey mustard, pictured above, is my fave to dip these air fryer chicken tenders, but feel free to use ranch or barbecue sauce. Vegetables: cook my quick roasted green beans or sautéed zucchini while you've got the chicken tenders in the air fryer, or you can air fry cauliflower right before. Potatoes: I usually cook air fryer French fries, air fryer sweet potatoes, or diced air fryer potatoes before air frying the chicken, then just toss them back in the basket for a minute to crisp up after the chicken is done. You can also make my garlic parmesan fries or roast potatoes in the oven if you want them cooking in parallel. Salad: the air-fried chicken tenders are really good right over my fall salad, spring salad, or kale salad for a one-dish meal. My fave for lunch. Type your question or comment, and tap comment. I welcome constructive criticism, but please be respectful. Rude or inappropriate comments will not be published. Thank you. How to cooking keto blueberry muffins. Let's go. These low-carb, keto blueberry muffins with almond flour are ultra-moist, sweet and fluffy, with just 3 net carbs. Easy to make in one bowl. Before I went low-carb and gluten-free, blueberry muffins were my go-to treat from the bakery or coffee shop. I even used to convince myself they were healthy just because of the blueberries, haha. When I started actually eating healthier, I created these keto blueberry muffins with almond flour back in 2017, as a tribute to the ones I used to enjoy. And honestly, I love them even more. Of all my many almond flour recipes, they're in my top 5. Make these keto muffins with me and I bet they'll be in your top 5 too. 1. Why you need my keto blueberry muffin recipe. The best texture and flavor. Unlike many keto muffin recipes that can be dry, grainy, or have an aftertaste, my almond flour blueberry muffins are moist, tender, and the sweetness tastes like sugar. You'll notice vanilla, a hint of almond flavor, and juicy berries in every bite. All the bakery vibes. Fast, easy, and meal prep friendly. This is a 1-bowl, 30-minute recipe, so you can find time for it even with a busy schedule like mine. But they also store and freeze well, so I make them ahead most often for a keto breakfast on the go. Clean, low-carb ingredients. Each muffin has just 3 grams net carbs, so naturally they're perfect for a keto diet. But they're also gluten-free and have a dairy-free option. Many ways to enjoy them. Enjoy them with a keto coffee for breakfast, with my low-carb breakfast casserole or bacon in the oven for brunch, or simply as a little treat whenever a craving strikes. One of my most popular recipes, over the years, my keto blueberry muffins have received over 1,000 5-star reviews, thank you. I even included them in my Easy Keto cookbook, along with other popular faves like keto cheesecake. 2. Ingredients and substitutions. Almond flour. The flour you use makes a huge difference. I highly recommend using Wholesome Yum blanched almond flour, which is super fine for a delicate crumb in your keto muffins. Many brands are too coarse, even if they say blanched, and almond meal is even worse, leaving a gritty texture. Bestie sweetener. Before I knew about allulose, I used erythritol for these keto blueberry muffins, but trust me when I say it's not the best choice. Bestie Monk Fruit Allulose Blend will get you the super moist texture you see here, because it naturally locks in moisture and doesn't crystallize, or have that erythritol cooling effect. It's the only sugar substitute I use now. Can you use a different sweetener? Yes, but it'll affect the texture. Here's a rundown of what does and doesn't work. Other monk fruit or stevia blends, such as Swerve, Lakanto, or Truvia. All of these actually use erythritol as the primary ingredient. They'll work, check my sweetener conversion chart, but have the same issues as erythritol, more dry and can crystallize. Pure allulose, Wholesome Yum allulose works great, but you'll need more of it, about 2/3 cup. Powdered sweeteners, these work fine, but the muffin texture isn't as nice. How well they work will depend on the blend. Bestie powdered will be the closest, whereas blends I mentioned above in powdered form will give you more dry results. Concentrated sweeteners, like pure monk fruit or pure stevia, the kind that you add in drops or teaspoons, not cups. I don't recommend these for this recipe because your batter will be too wet. Liquid sweeteners, not a good choice either. Again, your batter will be too wet. Coconut sugar, this works fine and would be paleo, but they won't be keto muffins anymore. 3. Other ingredients. Butter or coconut oil. I originally made these with coconut oil, the dairy-free option, but now prefer them with unsalted butter, this brand. Either works. If using butter, the easiest way to measure 1/3 cup is to cut 5 tablespoons from the stick, and then about 1/3 of the 6th tablespoon. Unsweetened almond milk prevents your low-carb muffins from being too dense. You can use any keto milk option here, such as coconut milk beverage, the liquid kind in a carton, not the thick kind in a can, hemp milk, or watered-down heavy cream. I use my homemade almond milk when I have it. Regular dairy milk will work from a recipe standpoint, but will increase the carbs, since lactose is sugar. Eggs, flax eggs or another egg substitute should work too. Baking powder, I like this brand, which is non-GMO. Be sure you use baking powder, not baking soda, they are not the same. Fresh blueberries, you can make these keto blueberry muffins using frozen blueberries too, but to avoid a soggy texture, don't thaw them first. I also toss frozen ones in a little extra almond flour to reduce blue streaks. Vanilla extract, you can also add other extracts, see my variations below. Sea salt. 4. How to cooking keto muffins. Mix the dry ingredients. In a large bowl, whisk together the almond flour, bestie, baking powder, and a pinch of sea salt. A whisk breaks up any lumps. Add the wet ingredients. Stir in the melted butter or coconut oil, almond milk, eggs, and vanilla, then fold in the blueberries. Scoop the batter into a lined muffin tin. This is my favorite pan, because it doesn't get the muffins too dark and cleans up so easily if I get batter outside the liners. I use these parchment liners, but silicone liners work well too. Bake until golden. Pop your keto blueberry muffins in the oven and bake until a toothpick comes out clean. They'll feel very soft, but will firm up as they cool on a rack. My recipe tips. Use quality ingredients. I can't emphasize this enough. This almond flour and this sweetener will get you the best texture. Make sure your eggs and almond milk are at room temperature. If you add them cold, your butter or coconut oil can solidify and you won't get a smooth batter. Expect a thick batter. These keto blueberry muffins have a thicker batter than conventional white flour recipes, so don't be surprised. Fold in the blueberries gently, especially if they're frozen. You don't want to smash them. You can make 10 or 12 muffins depending on your priorities. I usually make 10 as pictured here to get taller muffin tops, but you can make 12 for fewer calories and carbs per muffin. Save extra berries for the tops. If you want blueberries dotting the tops like mine, add some extras on top right before baking. Cool slightly before enjoying. It's hard to resist a warm, freshly baked muffin, but wait at least 10 to 15 minutes. The texture of these almond flour blueberry muffins improves as they cool. Want mini muffins or a loaf? For minis, use a mini muffin tin. This is my favorite. You'll get 20 to 24 little muffins, and reduce baking time to about 15 minutes. For a loaf, my keto blueberry bread is based on this recipe, in loaf form, or try my keto zucchini bread, it has blueberries.
In the city of sin, even dessert can be a crime. The scene, a kitchen after hours. The perp, a chef with a penchant for the sweet and dangerous. The ingredients, innocent enough on their own, but in the right hands. The plot thickens, just like the custard our culprit is creating. The trap is set, waiting for the heat to do its dirty work. Into the inferno they go, baking low and slow, like a long con. Time passes, but crime waits for no one. The evidence emerges, still hot from its alibi. A sweet disguise, about to meet its fiery fate. The final act, where sugar turns to glass, hiding secrets beneath. A transformation under fire, like a criminal under interrogation. The moment of truth. Will it crack under pressure? The perfect crime served on a silver spoon. Smooth as silk, with a hard edge that could cut glass. In this town, even dessert has a dark side. Case closed. Until the next course.
How to cooking keto crepe. The best keto crepes recipe, sweet or savory. These low-carb almond flour crepes taste and roll like regular ones, with 1 g net carb each. This keto crepes recipe might be a thin version of keto pancakes, but they sure feel distinct. The texture is different, and unlike pancakes, you can make almond flour crepes sweet or savory. Serve them for any meal from a low-carb breakfast to dinner, more ideas below. Plus they can easily transform into an elegant carb-conscious keto dessert. If you've never made low-carb crepes before, this is the ultimate guide to use. I originally posted this keto crepe recipe after I made it for my husband for our wedding anniversary, because they are my husband's favorite breakfast ever. They remind us of Paris, the destination of our honeymoon, and several other trips. We were always able to find restaurants that stuffed these light and thin pancakes with all kinds of goodies, but they were never keto-friendly. So, I got in the kitchen to experiment with making keto crepes that taste just as good. There's a secret ingredient in this recipe that makes these pliable, but the flour and sweetener you choose are just as important for the best keto crepes. I use wholesome yum almond flour, the finest consistency out there, and Bestie Monk fruit allulose blend, which is sweet like sugar and locks in moisture, to make a smooth batter with a touch of sweetness. Ingredients for almond flour crepes. One of the biggest challenges with making keto crepes is getting them to be pliable and not fall apart. In regular crepes made using wheat flour, the gluten helps to bind them together. That's not the case with almond flour. But, can you make keto-friendly crepes that still roll and fold? Definitely. A few key ingredients make this work. Powdered gelatin. This is my secret ingredient that will prevent almond flour crepes from falling apart. The gelatin acts as a binder. Make sure it's unflavored. Water. It blooms the gelatin and helps thin out the batter. You could also use your favorite keto milk substitute. Wholesome yum almond flour. It's blanched and super finely milled, so no gritty texture. Sea salt. Eggs. Use large eggs for the right ratio in your keto crepe batter. Ghee. It gives these almond flour keto crepes a rich, buttery flavor. Feel free to sub this for coconut oil or regular butter. Bestie Monk fruit allulose blend. It adds a light sweetness to the batter, and unlike other sweeteners, helps lock in moisture. Skip it if you're making keto savory crepes. Vanilla extract, another flavor enhancer for a sweet keto crepe recipe. Omit for savory. How to make keto crepes. Tips for the best keto crepes. I tested this keto crepe recipe a bunch to get it just right. To make sure your crepes turn out perfectly, don't fall apart, and stay pliable, follow these tips. No need to refrigerate the keto crepe batter. This is a common requirement for traditional crepes made with wheat flour, but you can skip it for these gluten-free crepes made with almond flour. The reason is, the need for refrigeration has to do with the interaction between gluten and water. No gluten means no waiting required. Use the right pan. An 8-inch non-stick pan works best, and make sure it has a heavy bottom. This low-carb crepe recipe is more difficult if you try to use a larger one or a lighter pan. Heat the pan gradually. If you heat the pan too fast, it will likely overheat. You'll have to reduce the heat to compensate, then increase again. Instead, heat it over medium-low and be patient as it heats up. Make sure the pan is hot, but not too hot. Clear as mud, right? Winking face, what I mean is, heat the pan at medium-low, or sometimes medium, not higher, but give it enough time at this temperature to heat up before you begin cooking. If the pan is too cold, the crepe batter will stick. If it's too hot, the crepes will be crispy instead of soft. Use just a little oil or ghee, but not too much. You need enough fat to prevent sticking, but if you use too much, the keto crepes will crisp up. You need a very, very small amount, and only need to grease after every few crepes, not after each one. Swirl the keto crepe batter around the pan correctly. I did this wrong for years and had no idea. Don't tilt the pan one direction and wait for the batter to drip down to the edge. Instead, rapidly tilt in a circle in all directions, and repeat this quickly 2 to 3 times as soon as you pour the batter in. The circle of crepe batter will gradually get larger as you do this. Flip at the right time. Cook the crepe for 1 to 2 minutes, until the edges are dry and you see bubbles forming on top. Time can vary depending on your pan and stove. Gently slide a turner underneath, and if it feels dry enough to stay together, then you can flip. You may need to adjust the temperature a bit as you go. Usually, all the crepes after the first one should turn out about the same if you have the temperature right, but the first one is often a flop. Use a reader's tip for flipping low-carb crepes. Loosen around the edges first, raise one edge up a little further with spatula, and then use your fingers to carefully pull it up and flip over. Cook for less time on the second side. After you flip, you usually need less time than the first side. No more than a minute most of the time. Storage instructions. Keep leftovers in the fridge for up to 5 days. Line parchment paper or paper towels between the crepes when storing, so that they don't stick together. Reheat. To keep them moist, place low-carb crepes in a baking dish, cover with foil, and heat in a 250-degree oven for up to 15 minutes or until fully warmed. The microwave works fine as well. Freeze. Store keto crepes in a Ziploc bag in the freezer. Line parchment paper between them to prevent sticking and for easy removal. Filling ideas. Sweet. Can you have crepes on keto if they're sweet? Absolutely. Try these easy ideas. Berries, strawberries, raspberries, or blueberries pair nicely, but just about any keto fruit can work. Pair them with sugar-free whipped cream, pictured in this post. Keto lemon curd, for a smooth, sweet, and tangy flavor boost. Ricotta or cream cheese, whisk it with powdered sweetener, to taste, for an easy and sweet keto crepe filling. You can also take it up a notch with strawberry cheesecake fluff, chocolate mousse, or homemade tvorog. Nut butter, spread some natural almond butter, peanut butter, or homemade sugar-free Nutella, or just get a ready-made keto version. Powdered bestie, perfect for sprinkling. Sugar-free caramel sauce, makes a mouth-watering drizzle. Nuts, a sprinkle of chopped almonds, pecans, or any keto nuts will add satisfying crunch. Keto maple syrup, this pours thick like real maple syrup, with a sweet and buttery flavor. Savory. 4 savory keto crepe filling ideas. Omit the optional sweetener and vanilla in the recipe. Then fill them with ricotta or cream cheese. This works great for savory fillings too. Fried vegetables. Try caramelized onions, sautéed mushrooms, or even stir-fry vegetables. Pesto and tomatoes. Spread homemade pesto on the base of the crepe, then add chopped tomatoes on top. Chicken, broccoli, and cheese. Make shredded chicken and roasted broccoli ahead, then roll up with your favorite keto cheese. Lox. Roll together with cream cheese, red onion, and capers. Spatchcock chicken. Let me show you. Crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside. The high oven temperature allows the inside to stay so juicy. But that crispy skin. Oh, how I love that ultra crispy skin. And everyone comments on it. Cooks evenly. I always enjoy a good oven roasted chicken, but sometimes it can be a little tricky to avoid drying out some parts while others cook through. Spatchcocking totally eliminates this issue, as flattening the chicken encourages all the areas to cook at the same rate. Irresistibly flavorful. The fresh herbs, butter, and garlic really take this chicken over the top. Fast, fast, fast. Compared to a whole bird roasted the regular way, my spatchcock chicken recipe cooks in about half the time. The method I use here allows me to turn up the heat, so it cooks faster. Looks impressive, but surprisingly easy. It's the best of both worlds, and one of my favorite options when I'm hosting a dinner. It feeds a good number of people, always gets people talking, gives my guests a choice between white meat and dark meat, and just takes away the stress all around. Ingredients and substitutions. Chicken. You'll need a whole chicken. Mine was 5 pounds, but this recipe will work fine with any size. The cook time will vary depending on the weight though. Compound butter. Butter normally can't handle the high heat of roasting, but when you place it underneath the skin of spatchcock chicken, it works perfectly to keep the meat juicy and flavorful. You'll need butter. Make sure it's unsalted, because we're salting the chicken separately, and softened at room temperature, so that you can mash it easily. Herbs. I used fresh parsley and my 5-minute Italian seasoning blend, but store-bought works too. Feel free to use any fresh or dried herbs you like here. Rosemary and thyme work well. Garlic. Get fresh garlic cloves, so that you can crush them. Alternatively, you can also use minced garlic, either fresh or from a jar, but I find the flavor disperses better with crushed. Chicken. You'll need a whole chicken. Mine was 5 pounds, but this recipe will work fine with any size. The cook time will vary depending on the weight though. Compound butter. Butter normally can't handle the high heat of roasting, but when you place it underneath the skin of spatchcock chicken, it works perfectly to keep the meat juicy and flavorful. You'll need butter. Make sure it's unsalted, because we're salting the chicken separately, and softened at room temperature, so that you can mash it easily. Herbs. I used fresh parsley and my 5-minute Italian seasoning blend, but store-bought works too. Feel free to use any fresh or dried herbs you like here. Rosemary and thyme work well. Garlic. Get fresh garlic cloves, so that you can crush them. Alternatively, you can also use minced garlic, either fresh or from a jar, but I find the flavor disperses better with crushed. Seasoning over the skin. While I use butter underneath the skin, a heat-safe oil works best on top, since butter has a lower smoke point and is prone to burning. It's the best of both worlds. Oil. I use olive oil over the skin, because it can handle the direct heat in the oven. Avocado oil is also fine to use. Paprika. I used regular paprika, but smoked paprika would be delicious. Sea salt and black pepper. Feel free to use kosher salt instead of sea salt if that's what you have. Sea salt is just what I usually keep at my house. How to spatchcock a chicken. Spatchcock chicken literally just means butterflied chicken. You cut the chicken in two along the spine, leaving the breasts connected, then flip it over and lay it flat before roasting to perfection. Here's how I do it. Cut away the backbone. Place the chicken breast side down on a cutting board. Mine was white for these photos, so you can't see it. Use sharp kitchen shears or a sharp knife to cut away the spine. To do so, just cut along each side of the spine. This is the hardest part, but you got this. Flatten. Use your hands to open chicken like a book, then flip it over, open side down. Use the palm of your hand to push down on the breastbone, which will allow the chicken to lay flat. P.S. If you cut through the breast as well, this will be a lot like my half chicken recipe. How to spatchcock a chicken. Spatchcock chicken literally just means butterflied chicken. You cut the chicken in two along the spine, leaving the breasts connected, then flip it over and lay it flat before roasting to perfection. Here's how I do it. Cut away the backbone. Place the chicken breast side down on a cutting board. Mine was white for these photos, so you can't see it. Use sharp kitchen shears or a sharp knife to cut away the spine. To do so, just cut along each side of the spine. This is the hardest part, but you got this. Flatten. Use your hands to open chicken like a book, then flip it over, open side down. Use the palm of your hand to push down on the breastbone, which will allow the chicken to lay flat. P.S. If you cut through the breast as well, this will be a lot like my half chicken recipe. Roasting instructions. Make the compound butter. In a small bowl, mash together the softened butter, parsley, Italian seasoning, and minced garlic. Season underneath the skin. Separate the chicken skin from meat by running your hand underneath the skin. Spread dollops of the compound butter mixture under the skin and press down on top of skin to spread the butter throughout the chicken meat. Season on the outside. Drizzle the top of the chicken with olive oil, then season all over with paprika, salt, and pepper. Rub to distribute evenly if needed. Roast. Transfer the chicken to a wire rack fitted over a rimmed baking sheet, breast side facing up. Roast spatchcock chicken until it reaches an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit in the breast, or 165 degrees Fahrenheit in the thigh. The temperature will continue to rise about 5 degrees after you take it out of the oven. Rest. Let the chicken rest before carving. This will help it stay juicy. I like to serve with lemon wedges for a fresh squeeze of lemon juice. Serving suggestions. My spatchcock chicken recipe goes with almost any side dish. Here are some of the ways I like serving it. Roasted vegetables. When I make this for just a casual dinner, I love turning it into a sheet pan meal. Chop your favorite vegetables while the chicken is in the oven and toss them in olive oil, salt, and pepper. When there is about 25 minutes left for the chicken, slightly before halfway through, very quickly take it out, arrange the vegetables around the chicken, and place back in the oven to finish roasting. I did this with roasted broccoli and roasted cauliflower in the pictures above, but it also works with roasted Brussels sprouts or really almost any roasted vegetables. Holiday veggies. When I need something for a special occasion, I make creamed spinach, honey roasted carrots, fried Brussels sprouts, or green beans almondine. They're surprisingly easy to make, but feel a little more festive than a sheet pan meal. Potatoes. You can't go wrong with roasted potatoes, or even sweet potatoes. Wash, dice, and season them right after you place the spatchcock chicken in the oven, then add them to the same sheet pan in the last 35 to 40 minutes. Alternatively, make my air fryer baked potatoes or mashed sweet potatoes while the chicken is cooking. If you need a lighter option, mashed cauliflower is my go-to. Salads. For a fresh and bright side dish, make my Greek salad, easy wedge salad, or simple arugula salad while the chicken roasts.
From bustling streets to hidden alleys, the world's greatest culinary treasures are often found right on the street. Swift hands craft, sizzling delights, bursting with flavor. From New York to New Delhi, each corner tells a tasty tale. Noodles dance, spices sing, and grills serenade the senses. Every bite tells a story of tradition, innovation, and pure culinary passion. This is street food, a global feast for the senses, served with a side of adventure.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to show you these incredible plasticine dessert creations. Let's add some layers, shall we? Look at those thin, perfectly even sheets of yellow and white clay. Can you believe how realistic these tiny clay strawberries look? And check out these delicate chocolate swirls we're adding. They're made by carefully twisting thin strands of brown clay. Now for my favorite part, the finishing touches. We're going to add some texture to our cake using this amazing tool. And now let's pipe on some clay frosting. How amazing is that? It looks so real you'd almost want to take a bite. Let's create a beautiful clay macaron tower to accompany our cake. Watch as we form these delicate little circles and sandwich them together with tiny clay cream fillings. The colors are so vibrant and eye-catching. And for our final piece, we'll make a clay ice cream sundae. Look at how smoothly we're scooping those ice cream balls and topping them with a swirl of whipped cream. Don't forget the cherry on top, a tiny red sphere of clay that completes our dessert perfectly.
I've eaten my way through every corner of France, and these are the dishes that keep me coming back. It's insane how much history and flavor is packed into every bite. So, check this out. I'm gonna break down the 5 foods you absolutely can't miss when you're in France. Alright, let's go. First up, crepes. These thin pancakes are everywhere, and they're crazy versatile. I once had a ham and cheese crepe at 3 a.m. in Paris that changed my life. Next, steak frites. it's just steak and fries. But the French elevate it to an art form. The steak's always perfectly cooked, and the fries, crispy perfection. Third, macarons. These colorful little cookies are like edible jewels. Fourth, French onion soup. It's this rich, gooey bowl of happiness topped with so much cheese you can barely see the soup. And finally, the baguette. You haven't lived until you've torn into a warm, fresh French baguette. The crunch, the smell, it's a whole experience. Trust me, once you try these, you'll get why French food is such a big deal.
Healthy vegetable soup. This healthy vegetable soup recipe is cozy, flavorful, fast, and easy. Make it in 30 minutes with veggies, broth, diced tomatoes, and spices. Skip the bland canned stuff. This healthy vegetable soup recipe is packed with savory flavor from fresh produce, broth, and herbs. Although I love to make hearty, meaty soups like cabbage hamburger soup and Mexican chicken soup, this is the best vegetable soup recipe to lean on when you want something light that balances flavor and simplicity. I'll show you how to make it with your favorite in-season ingredients to warm you up from the inside out, all in just over half an hour. Plus, it's so easy to customize. Why you'll love my healthy vegetable soup recipe. Light, but big on flavor. Veggies with savory, herby tomato broth. It's the best of both worlds. Simple ingredients. You'll find everything you need at any grocery store, and possibly even in your refrigerator. Best of all, it's easy to customize with whatever you have on hand. I often make this recipe for vegetable soup when I want to clean out my fridge. Fast to make, I love that I can whip it up in just 30 minutes on busy weeknights. Fits many healthy lifestyles. It uses fresh ingredients, lots of veggies of course. Plus it's naturally gluten-free and low-carb. Ingredients and substitutions. Vegetable soup recipes are a blank canvas, so you can add almost anything. Here are the basic components that you can customize based on your preferences and what you have on hand. Broth. I use reduced sodium store-bought or homemade chicken broth, but you can use vegetable broth to make this healthy vegetable soup recipe both vegetarian and vegan. If that's not important, you can also make your own homemade bone broth. Vegetables. The version I make most often includes onions, bell peppers, minced garlic, fresh or jarred, cauliflower, green beans, and canned diced tomatoes. But I've also made it with other veggies like kale or spinach, or throw in some leftover sautéed kale or sautéed spinach, zucchini, cabbage, broccoli, or sliced celery ribs, fresh or frozen. If you're including greens, add them toward the end of cooking the soup. Starches. I didn't include any to keep this soup light, but to make it more hearty, you can add potatoes, corn kernels, butternut squash, carrots, beans, like chickpeas or white beans, corn or green peas. Cut larger veggies into bite-sized pieces. Seasonings. Aside from the obvious salt and pepper, I add Italian seasoning, because it tastes great and saves time getting out multiple seasoning containers. If you don't have any, you can use any combination of dried herbs you like, such as basil, rosemary, thyme, parsley, oregano, marjoram, or tarragon. If you prefer to use fresh herbs, triple the amount, as their flavor is less concentrated. I like to throw in some dried bay leaves for flavor as well. How to make vegetable soup. Sauté the aromatics. Heat oil in a large Dutch oven over medium heat. Sauté the onions and bell peppers until softened. Add the minced garlic and cook until fragrant. Add the vegetables. Add the cauliflower, green beans, diced tomatoes, broth, seasonings, and bay leaves if using. Stir to combine. Simmer. Bring the soup to a boil over medium-high heat. Reduce heat to low, cover, and cook until the veggies are tender. Serve. Remove the bay leaves, ladle into bowls, and enjoy. Sometimes I like to serve this healthy vegetable soup with a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese or fresh parsley. My tips for adjusting flavor. Sometimes the flavor can vary depending on the vegetables, brand of broth or tomato paste, and your preferences. Here are some ways I adjust this healthy vegetable soup when needed. Too sweet? Stir in vinegar, salt, or Tabasco. Too bland? Add salt or additional herbs and spices. Your preferences may be a little different from mine, but it's easy to customize if you feel like something is missing. Too spicy? A little heavy cream or coconut cream, will tone down the spicy food, or dilute with more broth or some vinegar. Too salty? More tomatoes or lemon juice will help. Too acidic? Dilute with cream or coconut cream, or add more salt. A pH balance is sometimes a soup's need. Lemon juice or vinegar add more acidity, while heavy cream or coconut cream will make it more alkaline, if it's sour or spicy. Want to add protein? I have a recipe for a beef vegetable soup or a chicken vegetable soup. You can also use the recipe I have here and just add your protein before cooking the soup, along with 1 to 3 cups of additional broth. Storage tips. Keep the soup covered in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 5 days. Meal prep. I like to cut the vegetables ahead of time, because cooking this healthy vegetable soup recipe is a breeze. Store them in the refrigerator until ready to use. You can also make the entire soup ahead. It's so comforting and convenient to reheat for lunch. Reheat, warm on the stovetop, or in the microwave, until warm. Freeze, cool to room temperature, then pour into airtight zip-top bags. Lay flat in the freezer until solid, and after that you can move them upright to save space if needed. Thaw in the fridge overnight, in a container or pot to be safe, in case it leaks. How to cooking buttermilk pancakes recipe. Homemade buttermilk pancakes are the perfect breakfast. These pancakes are super soft and airy inside and with a beautifully buttery crisp edge. After trying this recipe, you won't want the pre-made mix again. Tired of store-bought pancakes that taste like cardboard? Homemade pancakes are better in every way, from banana pancakes to overnight sourdough pancakes, protein-rich ricotta pancakes, and cottage cheese pancakes. And of course, classic buttermilk pancakes are at the top of my list. My mother-in-law shared this recipe with me early on in our marriage, and we've been making it for years. Making pancakes from scratch always gets 2 thumbs up from everyone in the family. Ingredients for the best pancakes. It only takes a few minutes to make the pancake batter using the secret ingredient, okay? It's in the name, so not so secret buttermilk. They taste better than any box mix, just like your favorite restaurant. I think the texture is even better. 1. Flour. I recommend using all-purpose flour for the right batter consistency. 2. Sugar. Granulated sugar isn't just to make the pancakes sweeter. It helps with the browning. 3. Baking powder and baking soda. Combining both leavenings gives these amazing rise and lightness. Buttermilk activates the baking soda to make the pancakes extra fluffy. 4. Buttermilk adds a wonderful tang to add depth of flavor and activates baking soda to give the pancakes a lift. 5. Eggs. Use large eggs. They can be straight out of the refrigerator. 6. Vanilla extract adds a nice flavor and aroma. Homemade vanilla is even better. 7. Butter, melted and whisked in at the end to add richness and moisture to the pancakes. If you're in a pinch and don't have buttermilk, try these substitutes. Vinegar or lemon juice plus milk. Replace 2 tablespoons out of 2 cups of milk with vinegar or lemon juice and let it sit for 10 minutes to curdle. Homemade buttermilk is thinner than regular buttermilk, so use 2 cups of buttermilk substitute in this recipe. Yogurt plus milk. Combine equal parts of plain or Greek yogurt with milk to substitute. Kefir plus water. This is slightly thicker than buttermilk, so combine 2 cups kefir and a 1/4 cup water. Buttermilk powder. Following the package directions, it will be thinner than regular buttermilk, so use 2 cups. How to make buttermilk pancakes. This homemade buttermilk pancake recipe takes moments to mix together and create such fluffy, delicious pancakes. You'll never go back to the box mix. 1. Dry ingredients. In a large mixing bowl, whisk together dry ingredients: flour, sugar, baking powder, soda, and salt. 2. Wet ingredients. In a second bowl, whisk together buttermilk, eggs, and vanilla. Then, pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and mix until just moistened. There may be lumps, but that's okay. You want to avoid over-mixing the batter, which makes the pancakes tough. 3. Add melted butter. While stirring, add melted butter and whisk just until incorporated. Do not over-mix. 4. Heat the pan. Preheat a large non-stick pan, cast iron skillet or griddle over medium heat, 325-350 F on a griddle. Spray or brush the surface with oil. Optional. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit to keep pancakes warm between batches. 5. Cook the pancakes. Drop between a 1/4 cup, 2-ounce ice cream scoop, to 1/3 of batter onto the hot surface, keeping some space between pancakes for easy flipping. Saute 2 to 3 minutes per side. Flip when you see bubbles form and start to pop. 6 step-by-step directions on how to make pancakes from scratch. Keep warm. Once the pancakes are done, remove to a cookie sheet or piece of foil. Place in warm oven while you cook the rest of the batter. How to serve buttermilk pancakes. We top them with whichever seasonal fruits we have on hand. You can keep it simple with maple syrup or load on the toppings, along with a side of fluffy scrambled eggs and baked bacon on special mornings. Fresh fruit, all berries, sliced stone fruit, and bananas. Butter. A pat of softened butter melts beautifully on warm pancakes, or try honey butter. Syrup. Use Real maple syrup, raspberry maple syrup, honey, or agave. Sauce. Strawberry sauce, cherry sauce, chocolate ganache or whipped cream. Nuts. Chopped toasted nuts or shaved coconut. Calzone recipe. Want a twist on pizza night? Try this delicious calzone recipe for dinner tonight. All your favorite toppings like pizza sauce, mozzarella cheese, Canadian bacon, and pepperoni stuffed inside a dough then baked. These calzones are a meal the kids will flip over. If my kiddos had their way, we'd have pizza every night. They just never get tired of it. Of course, we don't have it every night, but I do like to make it a few times a month. You know, on a Friday or Saturday night. It's always a fun way to end the week. Way back in the day, I might have been tempted to just pick one up. But now I either make my own dough, it's so easy, or just pick up the pre-made dough at the store. Lately, I've been trying to switch up things up. So instead of just making a regular pizza, I've been making similar dishes that are just a little different, like this calzone recipe I'm sharing today. The kids call it the Big Hot Pocket, and I try not to get offended because a calzone is so much better than a frozen Hot Pocket. It's all of your favorite toppings folded up in dough and baked. Uri melted cheese, meat and sauce wrapped up in a golden crust. So good. Learning how to make a calzone is a game changer. Why you'll love this calzone recipe. With this easy calzone recipe, you can make any flavor combination that you want. Use all the fun combos of fillings, sauces, and add-ins. It only takes about a half hour to make this recipe that serves for a quick and easy dinner or lunch recipe. And the prep time is only 10 minutes. This is a kid-friendly and family-friendly meal. Easily double or triple the recipe to make more than enough for your entire family or guests at a party. Ingredients you will need for homemade calzones. This recipe makes enough for 4 calzones, but you can easily adjust it to make more or less. Homemade or store-bought pizza dough. You want the dough to be about 1/4 thick when you roll it out so it doesn't tear or break when you fold it over. My homemade pizza dough recipe is perfect for calzones. Pizza sauce. Use your favorite pizza sauce. It can be homemade or store-bought. Mozzarella cheese. Grab a block and shred it yourself for the best meltability. It truly makes a difference. You can also use other cheeses like Parmesan cheese or provolone cheese. Meats. We used both Canadian bacon, ham, sausage and pepperoni, but you can use salami, bacon, chicken and more. Butter. You could also use an olive oil, whichever you prefer. Seasonings. Garlic powder and chopped parsley mixed with the butter and brushed on the outside of the dough provides so much flavor. How to make calzone recipe. First, divide your dough into 4 equal parts and roll each into a ball. Roll each ball into flat ovals about 1/4 thick. Flour your work surface before rolling out the dough. You don't want it too thin, otherwise it won't be stable enough to hold the fillings. You can stretch the dough by hand, but I think it's easier to use a rolling pin. Spoon some marinara sauce on 1/2 of the oval. Don't spread it all the way to the edge. Leave some space around the edge so you can easily seal it when you fold it. Top the sauce with layers of cheese and meat, then moisten the edge of the homemade pizza dough with some water. This will create glue for the edges so they don't pop open while in the oven. Fold the other half of the dough over the fillings. Seal the edge of the easy calzones by pinching and crimping the seams together. You don't need a fancy stone or wooden peel to bake your calzones. Just transfer them carefully to a large baking sheet. Combine the melted butter, garlic powder and parsley in a bowl and brush the mixture on top of each one. Using a serrated knife, cut 2 to 3 slits in the top of each. This will allow steam to escape while they bake. Place the calzones in a preheated oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 15 minutes or until they are golden brown on top. I like to cool them for a few minutes before serving. You can eat it whole or slice it before serving. More filling ideas. Just like regular pizza, you can easily change the fillings to create all kinds of flavor combinations. Here are some ideas you might want to try in this homemade calzone recipe. Supreme sauce pepperoni, cooked sausage, green bell peppers, onions, black olives, and mozzarella cheese. Hawaiian, Canadian bacon, pineapple. Make sure to drain it so it's not too liquidy. Mozzarella cheese, pizza sauce. Veggie, cooked mushrooms, olives, peppers, sliced onions, and other veggies you like on pizza. Cheese and sauce too. Barbecue chicken, barbecue sauce, cooked chicken, red onion, crumbled cooked bacon, mozzarella cheese. These are just a few ideas. The possibilities are really endless. Remember to pre-cook the fillings that are raw. This way, everything is cooked through when the calzones have finished baking. How to store calzones. Fridge. Store leftovers of this easy calzone recipe in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. You can also prep them and then place in the refrigerator and bake them later. Freezer. Freeze calzones raw or freeze once they baked. To freeze them, place on a baking sheets and flash freeze them in a single layer. Once frozen, place the calzones in a freezer-safe bag or freezer-safe container and store in the freezer for up to 3 months. Reheat. To reheat a frozen calzone, place in the refrigerator to thaw. We try to do this overnight, but make sure it's at least 3 hours. You can also bake them frozen, just add more time to the baking time. Bake fully cooked and thawed calzones for half the amount of time. To bake raw, use the recommended bake time. Baked chicken legs. This baked chicken legs recipe makes them so juicy with perfect crispy skin. You need just a few simple ingredients and easy 10-minute prep. Ingredients and substitutions. Chicken drumsticks. Try to choose ones that are uniform in size, so that they cook at the same rate. Some people have asked me if they can use this oven-baked chicken legs recipe for chicken breast. The answer is you can, but you're better off following my baked chicken breast recipe. Some of my tips are different for that cut. Butter or oil. This helps make the chicken more crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. It also helps the seasonings stick. Butter has a low smoke point, so I don't usually use it for roasting, but I love the flavor that it gives this recipe and haven't had any issues with it. If you're concerned about it, feel free to use ghee, olive oil, or avocado oil instead. Spraying with cooking spray would also work, but I prefer to avoid the chemicals. Smoked paprika adds a yummy smoky flavor, as well as color. Feel free to swap in regular paprika if that's what you have on hand. Garlic powder. I use garlic powder instead of fresh garlic, as the latter would burn. If you want to use fresh garlic, it's best to put it in a compound butter underneath the skin instead, like I do with my air fryer chicken legs. Sea salt and black pepper. How to bake chicken legs. Prep the oven and pan. Preheat the oven. Line a baking sheet with aluminum foil. I always do this for easy cleanup. Then place an oven-safe rack over the sheet pan. I like this set, it's non-stick, so easy to clean. I prefer foil rather than parchment paper for lining underneath the rack, because it catches the juices more easily. Dry the chicken. Pat the drumsticks dry with a paper towel to remove excess moisture. Brush with butter. Brush the chicken legs on all sides with melted butter, or use olive oil or avocado oil if you prefer. Add the seasonings. Sprinkle smoked paprika, garlic powder, sea salt, and black pepper on all sides of the chicken. Bake chicken legs in the oven. Roasting at high heat, flipping halfway through, will get them crispy, aka just how we want them. But see my tips below if they aren't crisp enough for you. Let the chicken rest. Remove from the oven and wait a few minutes before serving. My tips for crispy, juicy results. Patting dry is crucial. I pretty much always pat steaks, poultry, and fish dry before cooking, as it helps them all stay more juicy. But for skin-on chicken in particular, this also helps the skin crisp up better. Season on the rack to save on dishes. I add the butter and seasonings right on the rack for a time-saving shortcut, but you can season in the chicken in a large bowl if you prefer. Simply pour the melted butter, or oil of your choice, over the chicken in the bowl, add the seasonings, and toss to coat. Start with the pretty side down. The side facing up last ends up a teeny tiny bit more crispy than the bottom side, so I like to start with the best side down and end with it face up. And flipping is a must to get crispy on all sides, even with the rack. Cook to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Whether you are cooking chicken legs in the oven or using just about any other method, they should reach an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit to be safe source. However, I recommend 170 degrees Fahrenheit for dark meat recipes like this, because that's when the collagen breaks down. In other words, they become juicy and tender. Here is the meat thermometer I use and recommend. Broil if needed. If the baked chicken legs are not as crispy as you like by the time they reach the right internal temperature, place them under the broiler for a couple of minutes to crisp up the skin more. Watch closely so that they don't burn. Don't forget to rest. Letting the chicken rest for 5 minutes after baking helps seal in the juices and ensure that they stay moist on the inside. How long to bake chicken legs? 4 average-sized drumsticks. Bake chicken legs for 35 to 45 minutes, flipping halfway through. The exact time will vary a bit, due to varying oven temperatures as well as drumstick size, so see my tips above to ensure they turn out just right. Storage instructions. Store. Keep leftovers in an airtight container in the fridge for up to 3 to 4 days. The skin does get soft when you store it, but you can crisp it up again if you reheat correctly. Reheat. For crispy skin and a juicy inside, I highly recommend reheating chicken legs in the oven again, but this time at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. If the skin is still not crisp, you can place under the broiler for a minute or 2. The microwave works in a pinch, but the skin will be soft. Freeze. You can freeze raw chicken for up to 9 to 12 months. Already baked chicken legs taste best if you freeze for no more than 3 to 4 months. I like to lay them on a parchment-lined sheet pan in a single layer and freeze until solid, then transfer to a Ziploc bag for compact storage. This method prevents them from sticking together. For best results, thaw the chicken before you reheat.
I've been craving some serious kimchi fried rice lately, and I think I've cracked the code on the best recipe you'll ever find. First things first, we need some day-old rice. You know, the kind that's been sitting in your fridge, just begging to be transformed into something magical. Grab your favorite kimchi, the funkier, the better, and chop it up nice and rough. We're not going for precision here. We want big, bold flavors. Oh, and don't forget to clean as you go. Trust me, future you will thank present you. Now heat up a wok or a large skillet until it's smoking hot. Add a splash of oil and toss in some minced garlic and ginger. Let those aromatics do their thing for about 30 seconds. Then throw in your chopped kimchi, give it a good stir, and let it fry up for a couple of minutes. The smell alone is going to make your mouth water. Next, add your rice and break it up with your spatula. We want every grain coated in that kimchi goodness. Drizzle in some soy sauce, a dollop of gochujang for extra heat. Keep stirring. Let it all crisp up on the bottom for that perfect texture. While that's happening, fry up an egg in a separate pan. We want that yolk nice and runny to mix into the rice. Finally, plate it up, top with that beautiful fried egg, and garnish with some sliced green onions and a sprinkle of sesame seeds. And there you have it, the ultimate kimchi fried rice that'll knock your socks off.
You need to hear this if you're a food lover with a taste for adventure. Imagine cooking a burger with molten lava. Intrigued? Let's get sizzling. Welcome to the hottest kitchen on earth. Our chefs are geared up with lava-proof iron boots, ready to cook the juiciest burger you've ever seen. First, we shape that perfect beef patty, thick seasoned and oh so juicy. Now, time for the magic. We lower the patty onto a slab of molten lava. Sizzle and pop. The heat is intense and the aroma is mouth-watering. Flipping it with precision, we get that perfect char, sealing in all those flavors. Cheese melts instantly, cascading over the patty like molten gold. Toasted bun, fresh lettuce, and a juicy tomato slice complete our masterpiece. As we plate this lava-cooked marvel, an explosion ignites, crowning this culinary adventure. There you have it, a burger cooked with molten lava, only for the bravest of food lovers.